I would love you to talk about your version, like the Wholality's
The
version
Wholality
of
of
the
life.
3 broad states.
Yeah, absolutely. And I write about this deeper in the book, so I'm just going to really just give a snapshot, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so yes, and of course, Wholality of life, we honor that we aren't part of nature, and that's Rudi's. We aren't part of nature. We are nature.
In human form.
And then I add, and as nature, we cycle, which really beautifully explains these 3 broad states. I do want to premise it, though, with Stephen's word that he coined, neuroception. And what that is our body's divine sacred listening. Because our body, our nervous system is always listening. It's what's scanning the environment for threat and safety below conscious awareness.
Yeah.
And so he didn't use perception because perception is too cognitive, it's too intentional. And so our body shifts below conscious awareness. It does what it needs to do.
Our physiological state sits in between the external part of our life and our reactions to that. So again, if we live in a behavioral world, we think that stimulus produces response. In part, that's correct, but there's something in between that that's a modifier of how that stimulus disrupts us or doesn't. The point is that the physiological state is literally a transformer, transducer of whether we take things with flexibility or we are highly reactive to it.
The interview you did with Dr. Roland McCready from HeartMath gives the science behind how, I mean, obviously polyvagal call it neuroception, but they found that we have an energetic vibration that picks up and feeds back data through our physiology. It's now proven that your frequency, your emotions has a measurable effect on other people and physical reality.
What we feel inside does not stop at the skin. We are broadcasting and radiating those emotions into the field environment. Right? Now, how do I know this? You can measure it. Does our nervous system also act, not only are we broadcasting, but are we receiving these biologically generated signals? Or whatever our emotional state is, can measurably affect others around us. So it's just nice to be able to put science to these things.
And so from a polyvagal, although polyvagal is mostly body-based, neuroception, although it explains...
Not necessarily.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's inside, Dana, inside, outside, and in between. So it scans the environment. So we have neuroreceptors.
Outside our bodies.
Yes, and in between, like me and you. So, and inside, it's also recognizing.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay.
So I know what you mean by inside and outside, that whole scanning system, holistically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So... Again, we aren't part of nature. We are nature in human form, and as nature, we cycle. So the first name of the 3 broad states is the meadow of connection and safety.
Beautiful.
So within this physicality, within this landscape, we are going to have enough safety to connect, create, to rest, and to restore. And so that's beautiful, isn't it? We can't always stay there. And so our body is going to have a sense of openness, of relaxation, and of calmness. Thoughts going on in our head are reflecting our inner landscape. Our thought is a manifestation of our inner energetic dwelling.
Another way of explaining it that Stephen Porges said is that your thoughts narrate your physiological state.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Absolutely. So within this meadow of safety and connection, the story or the thoughts that are going to be reflecting that are that of gratitude. Like, I'm excited, to sit down and have a business meeting with Rudi. That doesn't happen very often to be excited about that. But however, for this example...
Great, a business meeting.
Yeah, so I'm excited for productivity and to be creative with my beautiful partner. So that's that. And our next broad state is a field of mobilization. So that is when our neuroception, the body's sacred listening, has picked up something that could be potentially threatening. So our body's going to go on high alert right there in service of survival.
And when you say threat, it could be the sense of, is my job secure? Can I pay the rent? Like, oh, my partner isn't home from work yet and they're late. So our bodies and our whole being can sense a threat. It doesn't mean to say the threat's actually there in the world, but something in the world could give a similar flavor of familiarity of
Too much homework.
So it's not just a lion chasing you, it's very real life, modern worries that we have.
But the thing about neuroception is it recognizes the energy, familiar energy. So that's beautiful. It's not necessarily a lion chasing us. In the modern world, it could be, I need to get this done within a deadline.
There's too many projects, not enough time.
Right. Yes. So that's the modern day equivalency of that. So in this, we need to move. We become anxious.
Yeah.
We want to fight, flee, prepare to act.
So an example of that is, when I had the deadline launch on our business and I had so much to do, I found it hard to sleep because my mind was, I was like activated and I had to try and sleep.
Right. So your body, Rudi's body was sensing tension, tightness. His heart was rapidly beating and his breath became sort of shallow and a little bit quicker. And it's really hard to sleep when you have that physiological response going on in your body.
Yeah. And what kind of thoughts arise, or what's the narration happening from that physiological state?
What happens with these reflective thoughts is like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Am I going to get this done in time? What if this happens? Or what if I don't do this? And we're kind of like very busy, very worried, very anxious, very what if? Or, oh no, what about this? How am I going to handle this? Very active and rapid fire almost.
Yeah. So if somebody is in that field of mobilization a lot of the time, what happens physiologically then?
Beautiful question, because I lived there for a long time.
Yeah, me too.
And what happens is your body, it's not sustainable. Your body can only rise to that occasion a brief amount of time. And when we do that over and over and over again, the energy exhausts itself. And so our capacity to rise again is the little window of our capacity is getting smaller and smaller, which leads us to the next state. That is our withdrawal. It's the sanctuary of withdrawal. That's immobilization. So in this state, we have a bodily sense of decreased capacity, shutting down, moving inward, and kind of pushing people away almost, but it isn't intentional.
Yeah, you kind of feel limp and heavy. And I remember in the past when I went through a divorce with my first wife and I was talking to 40 students and I was running 2 businesses, I could do it up to a point, but then when you've been doing it for a really long time, you're kind of like burning through your vital energy, you're burning for your well-being or your capacity to perform. And I got to the point, I've been doing it for so long and there was so much to do and this never ending, I just crashed. I couldn't get out of bed. I felt hopeless. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I felt limp. I was unmotivated. People call that lazy, but you can explain this better, but it's like, it's a survival mechanism.
Right. It's always in honor of survival. Absolutely. Your body is going to become limp. It's going to feel heavy.
Yeah.
I remember going to the doctor and saying, why am I so heavy?
Yeah.
But at that time, they didn't know.
Yes.
They didn't have the knowledge yet. But it really helps people stop judging themselves.
Yes.
When you're in this withdrawal of this sanctuary of withdrawal, that is your time to rest and restore. And it's really hard to do that when you are unaware of the whole reason why you're there. When you're unaware of what's going on, we can't really understand and have compassion for ourselves when we don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, because like your body is enforcing it to, so you don't literally die of exhaustion.
Absolutely.
So your body shuts you down completely on purpose.
Right.
And it looks like a failure
it does.
when you're doing this behavior.
When
I feel
we
heavy,
don't understand.
I'm not motivated, I can't do anything, can't get out of bed. So it looks like a failure.
Right.
But actually it's a survival mechanism and it's wisdom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. Yeah, so I remember being in that space and my cognitive story played like a record, like a broken record, over and
yeah.
over and over again. You know, it's no use. I can't do this anymore. I just need to give up. I can't do life. I just can't do life anymore. And that's where I was.
Yeah.
You know, I always get things wrong. Nothing ever works out. And so what I want to say also, in addition to this, the story is plain. It doesn't mean the world is like that. It doesn't mean that, you know, the world is caving in on me, even though I have the very real bodily sense and emotional experience that it is. It's just from that space and from the survival, the outside world looks like that.
Yeah. And you know what? After having taught, you know, your thinking creates your feeling for very long, or your perception creates your reality. So change your perception, reality change, blah, blah, blah. When I came across this, that's when I stopped teaching what I was teaching.
Yeah.
And now, instead of the whole judgment of just get out of bed, or you know, calm down, or why aren't you motivated? All of those responses to those physiological states are coming from people who don't understand what we're talking about. It gave a compassion to the human experience that I never had before.
Yes.
Because you realise, like when my mum brought 3 kids up herself and worked full time, God.
Yeah.
No wonder she got in that sanctuary of withdrawal. She couldn't get out of bed, and she couldn't really look after us because she's freaking exhausted.
Right.
It's her body was trying to keep her alive by shutting her down.
Absolutely.
Another time, like my mum was in and I know that you've experienced a domestic violence environment. So of course she was stressed and uptight, and she'll be reactive.
Right.
So she wasn't doing that on purpose either. Her body was trying to keep her safe.
Yeah, and you don't realize, you think that, oh gosh, I should have the mindset, or I should be able to handle this, or I need to keep my chin up. I had the 3 losses.
Yeah.
My godfather, my fiance, and my dad all within 10 months. That was too much too soon, so my body went into the field of mobilization.
Yeah.
It sensed a threat, and it wanted to get up and run, and I didn't understand why.
Yeah.
So there was a disharmony within my being.
Yeah.
And then after living in that state, in that field of mobilization for so long, it decided with all of its wisdom that it was time to withdraw. You needed to slow down. It went into the sanctuary, went into immobilization.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't sustain it. My whole being could not sustain it. So these are 3 broad states in my book. I talk about the little nuances in blended states, but these are 3 broad states that everybody should know about.
Yeah, and explain really briefly about how we will go in and out of states like water, the rising and falling of water.
That's actually what was happening when I explained how I was curled up in a ball in my room, and then I had got a little spout of adrenaline, a little burst of energy, and I went into the kitchen to go wash the dishes. I got this gumption. I'm going to go wash the dishes. And then I looked at the dishes and I cried and went back to my room. So there's this intrinsic rhythm within our being, within the wholality of life. We are nature in human form. And as nature, we cycle. So there's this rhythm, there's this wisdom that, we ebb and flow, contract and expand. But when we're carrying something, like I didn't understand why I couldn't get my mind, my head wrapped around, I'm okay. I just lost my fiance, my dad, and my godfather.
And then later your daughter.
Yeah, that was after. But back then I was handed all these books, and people would say you need to just keep your chin up because you got to do this, you got to do that. But my body wouldn't let me. So I guess what I'm saying is there is this natural rhythm to life, and then there's a deeper rhythm within that rhythm. We ebb and flow, but when we're carrying something, a reactivity or an adaptation, when we have our natural ebb and flow, it's going to be a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? Because it's...
Yeah. Within whatever state we're in, if we're ebbing, it's going to perpetuate that state and make it feel and sense. You're going to get more of that narration coming from the physiological. And it's just going to be pretty nasty.
Yeah, so it is an opportunity to notice it, and it is an opportunity to turn towards it. But of course, working with us or coming on our courses or of course you're not going to do this alone. You don't have to do this alone. There's people out there that can help you and can understand all of this. So, because I know that nobody understood when I was moving through this, and it's kind of a very lonely place to be.
It is. It's okay to be human.
Yeah.
We have, and I'm sure that you have been through these states of feeling great, communicating with people, and then feeling really anxious and being snappy, and then moving into being really shut down, and you just can't do anything, and everything is hopeless, and you get a little bit of energy back again. Then you can get a bit anxious.
Yeah.
Like we're in this constant ebb and flow.
When we are carrying these adaptations below conscious awareness, these trauma responses or these threat responses below conscious awareness, within that ebb and flow, within that intrinsic rhythm, our ebbs are going to be a little bit heavier, a little bit grittier, and we're going to have less capacity, less energetic capacity.
Also, what may be helpful for you guys, we recently did a free course kind of around all of this stuff. I'll put the link below, but that actually helps you cultivate self-awareness. It helps you cultivate self-care and practices for you to take care of yourself. So those natural ebbs and flows where you're going, we can kind of like navigate that with a lot more grace. Also, if you're liking what we're doing, please hit the subscribe and the like button. So coming up on the screen is a kind of a continuation around this topic. It's a bit more geared towards trauma, but it talks a lot about self-awareness and patterns and how to become aware of them so we can integrate them and regulate our nervous system. Okay guys, lots of love.
Bye.
Bye for now.